Today, we got a playwright straight from the public who speaks to your soul, South Korea, Hansol Jung.
It gets better at times. Burn!
Dad joke of the year.
Welcome back to our show. Hansol Jung, we're so happy to have you on. Congratulations to you on your show at the Public Theater.
It's called Wild Goose Dreams. And that also came from La Jolla, correct?
Yes,
California La
that
Jolla
was the
Playhouse.
world premiere.
Great, so tell us a little bit about that.
Wild Goose Dreams is a play about two people meeting on the internet, a North Korean defector and a Korean goose father. Do you know what a goose father is?
Explain.
Goose father is a Korean man who has sent his whole family, like wife and children, to another English-speaking country for their kids' education, stays in Korea, earns money, and sends the whole sends money to his family while living alone. So, in this play, a North Korean defector who has defected like 5 years ago goes online, meets this goose father, and they sort of have an almost love story.
Right.
And you know, they have a one-night stand, and then stuff happens that makes the
As
play
they
continue.
always do. As they always do. And Lee Silverman directs, correct?
Lee Silverman directs, yes.
Great.
It's a cast of 10. It feels like a, Lee always likes to say it's a two-hander inside a musical.
Interesting.
Soundbite.
So there's a chaotic yet whimsical nature to your depiction of the internet in this play. Does this reflect your own relationship to it, or rather something different entirely?
Like chaotic and whimsical, like the writing is?
I guess the writing, but your sort of relationship with the internet. I feel like right now, especially, the internet is just very depicted as something incredibly divisive. You know what I mean? But for yours, I mean, obviously the internet is always somewhat of like the Wild West because it's somewhat unregulated, right? But it's also very fun in your play, and I was just wondering if that's sort of your relationship to the internet, or is this something that came out of something else?
Well, yeah, the way the internet works in the play is that people go into it to find comfort because they're like lonely as fuck, and so they're like, okay, I'm just gonna go check my email. Oh, there's no email. I'm gonna check my messages. Oh, there's no messages. I'm gonna check my Facebook, and I'm just gonna scroll down because it's all these people having people things that I can be a part of just by scrolling. And so it's like I was just trying to make fragments of people things happen when the internet comes on. And you know, it's in the beginning of the play, at least, to draw the audience in. It moves quite schizophrenically, but also I try to be funny. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's the whimsical part.
Yeah.
And also, no, nothing in your inbox. You know, I've been there, friends.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Oh my
yeah.
God,
It's like an automaton. I'm just like, this is awkward.
Refresh.
I
There's nothing on
I
my
know.
phone. I'm just looking at it.
know. I know. Yeah, absolutely. What was the impetus for you to include like music and singing into your depiction of the internet? Because that's the thing with this play, is that the internet is sort of like this ensemble of actors that like
and
sing.
they're singing in a cappella in binary codes.
Right.
That is
Right.
what is happening.
So how did that sort of idea come about?
Well, the original was that it's you know, life is chaotic, and this is somewhere where we look for order and comfort. And so the idea was that when the internet happens, you somehow in your life get a sense of order. And when Paul Castles, the composer, and I first talked about because all I gave him was like a bunch of binary codes and some words, and he was like, what's happening? And so I was like, and then I explained what the feeling is, and he was like, and then what he brought back was a sampling of Gregorian chants. And so the music of it is very trying to find order, because you know the internet at the core of it is just math.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
algorithms.
incredibly structured,
Code.
and yet the Wild West.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Wild West because humans keep accessing it and giving different things and trying to talk through it and communicate through it. And there are many rules that are about humans that shift on the internet, but how it works is very ordered, and I guess, a place where you go for refuge and comfort, in my play anyway.
Your aesthetic has been described as magical realism or surrealism.
Who did that?
People,
Who
the
done
media.
that?
Well, no, that's what I wanted to know. Like, do you like that? Is that how you kind of identify some of your style as a playwright, or do you like? How do you feel?
I feel like identity in general is about the person who needs that label. So if someone needs a label to describe me, I mean, if an educator is like, let's look at magical realism playwrights and like find some aspect of it inside my play, fine, it's a magical realism play for you in that moment. But I think I just go through it with. I mean, I like it when theater needs to be theater, and I enjoy finding muscular metaphors of how to parse out the experience I'm going through, I suppose. You know, and I think like I like animals. I have like animals in almost every single.
Yes, there are animals in this play as well. There are animals in this play. I'm not gonna say what kind of animals.
And it's not geese.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It's animals. It's not geese. Yeah, the geese is a red herring. I found that you have stated at some point that Wild Goose Dreams is one of your most personal plays because it's sort of a hybrid of American and Korean aesthetics. Does this make it one of your favorite plays? And if so, or if not, what is your relationship to your other plays?
That's the thing about interviews. I say things and I'm like, why did I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Or did I say that? And when did I say that? And was I drunk?
Right. Well,
like now.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Cheers.
No, round 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think.
Feel free to completely say
like
that's bullshit.
I think maybe I was bullshitting a little bit. It is personal in many different ways, and I think this was the first play that I was charged to set a play in Korea, and I was like, I don't know how to do that because like the characters are speaking English, and weirdly, I like metaphor, but I couldn't get my head around how do these people speak English.
Right.
So I wrote a part of it, the first part of it I wrote in Korean, and then I translated it, and in that translation found sort of a hybrid way of trying to get the characters to talk in Korean, in a rhythm that felt like it was Korean to me in some way.
Right.
And so in that way, technically that was really exciting, and then because I was able to do that, I think I found a more personal note because I was talking about a place that I knew very deeply and emotionally. And I don't know, I'm not a North Korean defector. I've never been a goose father. My father is not a goose father.
Right.
Story-wise, not really, but the things that they're feeling in terms of having left their roots, feeling uprooted, feeling lonely, not knowing how to access their humanity is, I guess, very belonging to me.
So this play started as was it a commission or was it like a prompt, right?
Yeah, it was a prompt from the Royal Court. It's an international playwrights.
There's their information. If you're interested.
Right.
It's like magic. It just appeared. Yeah. So the Royal Court asked you to, commissioned you for.
It wasn't a commission.
Prompt,
it was like a summer. It's like 3 weeks in the summer where they have a bunch of playwrights from not the UK, and it was I think 5 of us. There was a woman from Argentina, from South Africa, Germany, a man from Germany, and China, and me, and I gave them like some ideas, and they were like, cool. But maybe do you want to write something set in Korea? And I was like, what?
Right.
And then they said, we have resources to translate it for you. But what happened, and it was like such a stroke of luck, that the Korean translate that they had wasn't available. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just do it, because there was a reading at the end of the 3 weeks. And as I did it, I was like, oh, this could actually really be a play.
Wow. How did you like translating your own play?
No. No, what happens is I wrote it and then I tried to translate it, and as you translate it, you have to interrogate the meaning of each word.
Right.
And so you start cutting and changing as you translate.
Right.
Right now, my mom's coming to see the show in the first week of the previews. My whole family's coming except my dad. and my mom doesn't speak English, but it's the first professional play of mine that she's seeing, and it's set in Korea. So I've been spending tech translating the play back to Korea.
Oh my god.
For her.
Oh
Right.
And it's like
full circle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
Hansol,
such a weird.
I didn't do nearly that much effort, but my father doesn't speak English that well, and so like when I have readings and stuff, like I would go like scene by scene, and I would like basically write the synopsis in my terrible Japanese, and I would have to translate each scene, and even that I was like, oh. but like before the reading, my dad like has this like cheat sheet, and he'd be like reading it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is. But you did the whole play, right?
I'm doing it right now.
That's
and
crazy.
It was really weird where I was translating a scene and they were teching it on stage, and I was like, whoa, this feels really.
My god, that's so much work.
The way they did this set is also the entire Martinson is surrounded, like all four sides surrounded by Korean things.
Oh,
it's just like a collage of. And it's sort of, I love it. It reflects.
Awesome.
Yeah, it sounds immersive. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it reflects the schizophrenia of the play a little bit.
Oh, great.
To be translating in that space while they're speaking the language in English, it's like a.
Well, so because you're translating it, and you have to have a good grasp of both how it sounds in English and in Korean. With regards to humor, have you found that to be like a hurdle, translating Korean humor into English or vice versa? Like, do you think it's very different?
I think so. I think I'm like in the fault lines of it, so I very often just don't understand humor.
Wait, you don't understand humor, period, or like American
like
humor?
Like
in either?
I think I have my own rhythms of what's funny and what's not, and it's very. I think I've been told that my sense of humor is weird.
Okay.
And
from Americans or from South Koreans? Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I will say something, and people will laugh, and I will not know why.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, and it happens in both countries. And in the writing of it, I think I emulate the humor that I've heard. So it's very the humor that I employ, I think, are of two varieties. One is dick jokes, and two is just musical. Musical.
Oh my God,
So that sounds a lot like Tenacious D. Like if you know the band, that's basically all they do.
No, those are dude dick jokes. Mine are women dick jokes.
There we go.
Different.
They have to be different.
I'm so excited.
There we go.
For this
So
play.
you're like the female version of Tenacious D. I don't know.
Oh, please don't say
Yeah, that sounds horrible. That's why I said it. I was like, no, redact it.
As you were.
Yeah, like
Talk
pull
to
that
that
back, reel that back. By the way, I love Tenacious D, but I get it.
She's the female version of Hansol Jung.
Thank you.
There we go. She is in a league of her own. Let's just put it that way. I know when you were in college, NYU, correct? Am I making that up?
NYU?
NYU.
Oh
when you were
yeah,
in
I
college,
was in
right?
an exchange student program
Right.
at NYU for a year.
Right. So your lens into American culture was translating Broadway musicals into Korean, correct?
Sort of.
I
would say my lens into America was Friends and Gilmore Girls.
Oh shit. Well, that's
very specific.
yeah.
I know, right?
That's
And the first 4 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. But that felt like it was doctors, not America.
right. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
And it's a soap too. So
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head. I don't know if that's worse or better than than musicals. Cause Friends, maybe Gilmore Girls, but Friends is like, it's not New York City. Let me tell you that. You know what I mean? Like Friends is
that is
not
like
New York City.
California.
I mean, Gilmore Girls is not real either.
Sure, but I feel like I don't know. There's this element of like the parent, like
it's
the parent and
laugh
the daughter.
track. It's the laugh track.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Of
the
Friends?
cans, the canned laughter, the canned
Right.
things like that.
Well, but
It's
the
different.
rhythms of how people are.
Right. Right.
Of like how friends act.
Right.
Or
All right, we're going
That's
totally
just a
off track
surprise.
now. Yeah, no, this is great.
I stand Gilmore Girls, and it's like, and it is acquired, like it is an acquired taste
Right.
of like a lot of verbiage, a lot of like, it's like a regular TV script. Let's say it's like, I don't know, like 60 pages. Gilmore Girls is like 1,000. Like
Right.
there's so much dialogue.
I don't know too much about Gilmore Girls, but like I just from what I know about it, it's more about like Lorelai, right? The mother.
They're both Lorelai actually, but
Oh, really?
it's
okay,
a big,
but it's like a mother-daughter sort of like,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which like, okay, that makes sense. But like Friends is like Friends in New York City in like an urban area, and that's like nothing in any urban area ever. It's like a totally fictionalized urban area that no one can possibly live in. And maybe that's just because I just haven't, you know what I mean? And it's also super white, so I'm like,
Yes.
what
As
is?
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, but I feel like
Yeah, but
again,
then I went to Pennsylvania for my
It's
master's,
yeah,
and
it's-
so
it's
I was
pretty
very
white.
well prepared.
Israel white.
okay.
My partner's from Pennsylvania. Guess what?
Oof.
White.
Okay, so I guess my question is, so from that perspective of America, how does that compare to now? You now.
Oh, completely different. I think back then I wasn't thinking of Americans as real people.
We're actually
Yeah,
not
because
real
from the
people.
examples from Friends, Gilmore Girls, and Grey's Anatomy, that's like, you're right, that's not
I
the
think
best
much like how you
portrayal.
probably don't think of Koreans as real people.
No, you're talking to two Asians.
Yeah, I was
No,
like,
but
I've been
okay.
to Seoul.
What about
That's-
North Koreans?
I don't know. I always think I don't know.
Like
it's
real
hard for
people. To think about people who are not in your community as real people is really hard. So I don't think I was like, I had ideas about what America was, America.
Me. Right.
And I had like thoughts and opinions about American
Right.
capitalism and
Right. I
man.
see what you mean.
And, you know, getting into it, you were like, it's complicated. And we share more than we don't. And I don't know. And I love writing for this country. I love it because there's so many colors and so many textures. And it's like the palette that I have, writing the stories of the stories that people could listen to here are just so big and pulsating, and I love it. The fabric.
So,
That's beautiful.
has there-
That's beautiful.
that is very
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Cheers.
cheers
Yeah,
to that.
cheers.
I'm gone, but like cheers.
I love it.
Is there anything that stayed from your initial sort of ideas about America? Anything that has, you know?
The frustrations about capitalism, I think. There is just no net for when it doesn't work. And it's just the country itself is it's too big. It cannot be reigned under one idea. But
Speak on it, Hansol. Speak on it.
No, there's
it's not a
the
criticism.
struggle is real. Yeah.
The country itself is so big. In Korea, when something happens, it's and everyone knows about it. The entire country is involved in it. And I mean, we have our own frictions, but here it's so big that people in Arkansas are an idea, not people.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Because you can be an American and not necessarily have traveled to every state. You could be an American and never have gone to like the Midwest. You can be an American and never gone to New York City. And what you're saying, like in Korea, like the idea of not being able to travel most of the country is crazy.
It's insane.
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's just
I have friends who
It's
just
not
like walked around the whole country for 6 months, and here it's so large, and you say it's divided, but it's just that it's pockets of differences that
it's almost like different
cannot
countries
bridge.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember when in South Korea they impeached the president because of bribery, and I'm like, our president is completely taking bribes, is incredibly corrupt. The New York Times article came out of how corrupt he actually is, like went into the nitty gritty, and still we're just like, well, he's corrupt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the bribery that's upsetting. In Korea, it was boiling. Frustrations around how the country was being run by the same kind of people was boiling. And right now, the frustration that is boiling is actually about capitalism, but it's just being rerouted into very different ways against each other, I think. The frustration is about race friction. which is very deep-seated, I think.
Mm-hmm. Very.
And
Yes.
money. And where it goes. And like, it's too big for anyone to say, this is what the problem is,
Right.
let's all fight about this.
Yeah, the thing, especially in America, is like we're afraid of things that we don't know. You know, this whole idea of you know, I agree with you. This, you know, there's no safety net. Capitalism, we idolize it to a fault, because that has been the backbone of this country for so long. And when people say things like socialism, they immediately think communism, and they're like, oh, it's the evil, or Venezuela. It's like, guys, we have socialistic ideas and policies and things in our life already. It's just extending that to certain human rights like healthcare.
Yeah.
And people in
Universal
very red states,
education.
right? And people in
That's a
very
socialist idea.
exactly. Public libraries, my favorite thing, is an incredibly socialist thing. I saw this on Twitter, but it's like true. Like if public libraries didn't exist right now, the right would think it's like the insane, most communist thing, right? It's like free books for everyone with taxpayer money. People are like, fuck that shit, you know? But like it already exists, so we don't think it's like an insane thing. But like healthcare should be a right for everyone, and yet we're still debating this idea. It's like, oh my god, like why do I have to pay for your healthcare? It's like, guys, like we pay for each other's everything.
We already do.
Yeah, it's like,
Let's
guys,
just be real.
we're just saying we just want to live. Like, is that too much to
Yeah.
ask? Like, it's insane. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the consensus is really hard
Yeah.
because it's so big.
Yeah.
But I get that makes it fun for you. You know, there's a complexity to to us. we're not simple. We're not simple folks.
No, and if the game of theater or creating stories is a game of empathy, right? And since there's just a lot of characters in the game without empathy to each other, to like put them in the same room already just creates interesting stories.
Right.
So if you could go back and give your younger self advice on playwriting, on theater, on all of it, what would you say to yourself?
Don't do it.
Oh shit. Damn.
That's
Damn.
That's a lie. No, I would never say that. I think I'd say read more. I like reading a lot, but I think that's where I'm pulling from right now. Reading or experiencing the world, not actually writing. I think I would like that. I think that's like the reserve I have to really pull on, like what I have felt in those years, or what the things that have impacted me and stayed and became a part of my own story memory, are the things that are making the things I make now. And to have, I wish I had like a deeper reserve of that.
So like the literature and the experiences have informed your art. So
yeah, the literary experiences for sure, but travel experiences, you know, to meet people deeper in a deep way, or yeah, things that I just wrote off as like ugh.
Right.
Kid.
yeah, lean in. You heard it first, college kids. Lean in.
Lean in.
Lean in and read books, you motherfuckers. All right. So we're coming down to the tail end of our interview, and you know we're a show that recommends theater. So if you don't mind, we would like you to recommend something for our audience. You can give it to any camera you want. The center one is the medium shot. That one, the roaming one, is a close-up. So whatever you want, give it to the people. What do you recommend, Hansol?
I'm allowed to recommend like literally anything on
Anything
Netflix, right?
you want.
Okay,
Anything you want.
so 2 weeks ago I went to a roller derby.
Oh shit.
Bout? Game? Bout? In New York, it's Gotham Girls. If you're in New York, go. I took my girlfriend and my really close 2 gay male friends who expected it to be horrible. And I'm telling you,
It's so much fun.
I'm telling you, you have, like, there was this amazing woman named Eva Hex. Or Eva Hex. We didn't really meet her because I was fanning out and felt shy. Eva Hex is literally our noun right now in our circle, to be you know, Lee Silverman is the Eva Hex of directing. So, if you want.
Damn. That's high praise.
It's,
Props.
I mean,
Mad props to representing
you
Eva
guys
Hex.
are like the Eva Hex of the interview.
What's good? Yo, you heard it here.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
That's right. And my second recommendation is, this is a sort of studious real one.
Yeah, sure.
if you have time, resources, and you are in New York, go see Thunder Bodies by Kate Tucker at Soho Rep. I went to a preview last week.
Word.
It is, and she's a really good friend of mine. We went to school together.
Yeah, she was in Ars Nova. I know. Yeah, what's up, Kate?
Her brain is so completely different from mine, but it just her writing doesn't exist in the world right now, and it really needs to. And they open on Saturday. So
Saturday, this is gonna go up in November. So Saturday.
Fuck! Then I can't do this rec because it'll be
No, it'll go till November. It goes till November.
October?
Yeah. This interview will air the first week of November, so it'll still be open.
Okay.
I know because I have tickets. I know because I have tickets to like the 7th or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go see Thunder Bodies.
Yeah, go Soho
and
Rep.
if it's closed already, read it.
Yeah, word. Yeah, they got the bookstore open, so
bookshop.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
still there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Hansol.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming on our show.
Thank you.
This has been
Thank you
great.
so much. Cheers.
Cheers.